Yeah, that's
I spar
exciting.
big guys though.
Do you?
Yeah, I spar big guys. That's why I'm starting thinking like, man, I probably can be great. I probably can be great, you know what I mean? But, you know, it's different in the fight. But I believe in my skills and my ability.
Canelo has shown in his last few fights that he's just a businessman. He's not in there to entertain the public. He just takes the big check.
I'm still going Canelo. Even with that performance, I almost feel like Canelo fights
You're
up.
a big size guy right there.
Yeah, and he fights up to his guys in terms of if there's a real threat in front of him, we're going to see a better Canelo. He hardly even broke sweat for Skull. Canelo is younger than Crawford, bigger than Crawford. They're both great boxers. Crawford didn't look great against Madrimov. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm edging to Canelo just.
You know what I'm excited for, man? Terence Crawford and Canelo. That's the one.
That's gonna be a big one.
That's the one.
That's a big, huge fight.
That's the one.
That's
That's
the
the
one.
one.
Yeah,
A lot
that's
of
the
people
one for the year.
think Terence is too small. He weighed himself the other day. He was 185 pounds.
Canelo versus Crawford is a fight coming, and this isn't just a fight. It's a collision of titans, a brutal war for the throne where careers will be made or shattered in seconds. Both are aiming to prove who will be the undefeated king. But that's just the beginning. Joe Rogan has offered a multifaceted insight into the much-awaited fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. His insight cuts across admiration for Crawford's capability and anxiety regarding the physical aspects of the bout.
You know what I'm excited for, man? Terence Crawford and Canelo. That's the one.
That's gonna be a big one.
That's the one.
That's a big, huge fight.
That's the one.
That's
That's
the
the
one.
one.
Yeah,
A lot
that's
of
the
people
one for the year.
think Terence is too small. He weighed himself the other day. He was 185 pounds.
He just looks scrawny in the ring. He
Well,
like,
he
fought
gets
at what,
down.
140, 150.
Well,
150.
he just won the 154-pound title, and you know before that he was fighting at welterweight, which is 147. But it's not like he doesn't have time to like thicken up a little bit. And if he's walking around at 185, that means he probably cuts a considerable amount of weight to get down to 54.
Moving forward, Rogan has expressed deep respect for Crawford's boxing prowess. He highlights Crawford's remarkable talent in switching stances between orthodox and southpaw with ease, an unusual talent that frustrates opponents. Rogan opines that Crawford's technical skill and ring awareness make him a handful for anybody, even Canelo Alvarez.
100%.
But I think he's getting thicker, and he was deadlifting 450 pounds the other day. Like,
You like deadlifts?
I think they could get your back up.
On the flip side, Matchroom CEO and promoter Eddie Hearn said Canelo is still a master, a once-in-a-generation fighter, but legends are not immune to the passage of time. The hunger, the urge to endure another brutal camp, to subject his body to hell once more, it seems to be fading away bit by bit. Not that the passion has been extinguished, but because life moves on, and even for champions, there are times when the urge to do something else beckons.
Do you see that fight now differently based on how Canelo performed against Skull, Eddie?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah? Oh, wow.
It wasn't just the fact that he couldn't cut the ring off. I just feel like the timing now, the age, Canelo is amazing. I mean, not just because of his ability and what he's accomplished, but the fact that he still has the desire for those training camps and those fights. But I just feel like that desire might be fading a little bit.
And that's where the Crawford fight becomes tricky. It's the type of super fight that could get anyone fired up. But on some level, there's a feeling that Canelo might hold back, not because he's afraid, but cautious. Fitting a smaller but perilous foe like Crawford at the end of your career is a gamble. It could make the last page of an otherwise magnificent novel. Nevertheless, the payday and its size are probably too great to be overlooked.
Not because of his love, but just because of age and like life. Do you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, like the Crawford fight will definitely get him up for it. But I was actually watching that fight thinking I wouldn't be surprised if he retired and actually didn't fight Crawford, because I don't think he'll want to lose to Crawford, a much smaller guy, just because he's at the end of the road. But the fight's so big and the money's so big, he's gonna have to take it. I bet he retires after that fight.
In light of that, CEO of Top Rank, Bob Arum, didn't mince words when discussing Canelo Alvarez's recent performances, criticizing what he perceives as an obvious change of heart among Canelo. In Arum's view, the current Canelo is no longer fighting with the passion and hunger that once created him a fan favorite. Sensing big paychecks, he's fighting like a businessman. To Arum, Canelo's more interested in raking in huge paychecks than in giving exciting, crowd-pleasing performances inside the ring.
Canelo has shown in his last few fights that he's just a businessman. He's not in there to entertain the public. He just takes the big check. But again, if Canelo really fights, because I think safe to say Terence always fights. He doesn't know anything else. So then it could be a very good, interesting fight.
What's more, he questioned whether Canelo is still fighting for the love of the fight or if he's only doing it to earn a paycheck. By contrast, Arum had only good things to say about Terence Crawford, calling him a fighter through and through, a guy who always leaves everything he has inside the ropes, no matter who he's fighting or where he's fighting them.
Who is Canelo? What Canelo is going to show up? The Canelo who's looking to cash a big check, or the Canelo that really wants to fight like a fighter? Now, the Canelo we've seen the last 2 years is not only boring, but doesn't really have an incentive to mix it up and to entertain people with a good fight.
Taking it a step further, famous boxing commentator Teddy kicks things off by highlighting that a whole week has gone by since Canelo Alvarez faced William Skull, successfully defending his 168-pound King's title. With the dust having settled, fans having had time to dissect every second, Teddy is set to go into the real deal talk, pursuing raw, unadulterated reactions. It is not merely a matter of going back, it is an unmistakable indicator that the limelight is now going to be focused on an even greater clash in the making, one that can rock the world of boxing as never before.
Come on. I like Crawford. I like Crawford then, I like him now. I liked him before Canelo looked not so good in his last fight, obviously. I thought it was going to be... I just think Crawford's real special. I think Canelo's really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient.
Teddy shifts the focus to the blockbuster showdown everyone's been buzzing about. Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez at Legion Stadium in Las Vegas. He paints this as a monumental clash between two of the sport's top warriors, both fighting for dominance in the loaded 168-pound division. By shining the light on the scale of this battle, Teddy opens up the floor, encouraging insiders and fans to send in their initial opinions and forecasts on what might be the bout of the year.
The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire, it's in his mind, it's in his makeup, it's in his background, where he came from. That there's something about, just like a Sugar Ray Leonard had that something about him when he's a junkyard dog, when he has to be a junkyard dog. And with all the intangible gifts that I just touched on. Not just that the ones that we already know, that he has speed, he's got power, I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it? Those intangibles. I believe that he has them. And like I said, when the fight was still mentioned, first mentioned I should say, I picked him. And now it's a little bit more fashionable. You know, it's a little bit, you know, more easier for people to say, oh yeah, I can see Crawford winning. And why? Well, Canelo's last performance, real quick, what could it be? I already went over this. You want to hear it in a deeper breakdown? Go back and listen a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whenever the fight was, to our podcast. And I break it down. Point by point.
Meanwhile, Teddy points out that he really respects Terence Crawford. He has enjoyed Crawford as a fighter since the early days and still feels the same way now, particularly after observing Canelo's latest fight when Canelo himself did not appear as dominant or crisp as one had anticipated. That fight only seemed to validate Teddy's opinion that Crawford is a solid contender and that the next fight will be an extremely competitive and engaging contest.
Canelo, he's either old man time, that undefeated guy, he finally caught up to him. He's old, he's slow. Or here's another one. I already touched on, but I'll say it again. And you can get mad again. Or you can agree again. It's up to you, whatever. But he's made so much money that the urgency's not there. The fire's not there. At least it wasn't there a week ago. At least I say that. It wasn't there a week ago. Maybe it'll be there now. Maybe he's the kind of guy that, and I get it, that at this point in their career, it has to be a big fight to get up. That Canelo can't get up for these fights. He couldn't get up for that fight. All right. If you want to go down that road, go ahead. But my road is still possible. That he got old, that just doesn't have that fire no more. Oh my God, I'm going to say this one. That maybe he's a little overrated. I listen, I know he's tremendous. He's tremendous.
On top of that, Teddy doesn't hold back as he questions whether Canelo Alvarez is still the same force he once was, or if the fire that fueled his rise has started to fade. He proposes that perhaps at this stage in Canelo's career, only the biggest, highest stakes fights can truly inspire him. Instead, he throws out a more uncomfortable possibility. Canelo may simply be old. The hunger, the bite, the raw energy, it may be fading. And then the bombshell. Teddy questions whether Canelo has ever been a little bit overhyped to begin with.
If you look at some of his biggest fights, the fights where you had to be great to win, that you fought great fighters or near great fighters, you know, you can make the argument that he lost the first Triple G. You know, he didn't embarrass himself, but he got a draw. Second one, you can make the argument he lost that. I know it was a different kind of fight, and he got better. But you can make that. You can make the argument he lost to Lara. He did lose to Mayweather. You can make the argument it was too young in his career. Maybe. Although it wasn't that young. He turned pro when he was 15 or 16.
Teddy doubles down on his belief in Terence Crawford, painting a vivid picture of how he sees the fight unfolding. In his eyes, Crawford isn't just going to edge out a win, he's going to outclass Canelo. He envisions Crawford being too fast, too slick, and too smart, boxing literal circles around the aging Mexican icon. For Teddy, this isn't about raw power or brute force. It's about superior timing, speed, and ring IQ.
He was already pro for how many years? For 8 years, 7 years. But then again, you can still make that argument. Okay, at the end of the day, I think I said this before people killed me, but I said it before it was as easy to say as it is maybe now with Canelo coming off a bad night. I said that this reminds me, and it could be like Pacquiao when he fought De La Hoya. Pacquiao, everyone loved De La Hoya. You forget so fast. You guys got short memories. You might be saying Canelo was too old. Canelo got old. This, that, whatever. So at the end of the day, looking forward off of the last fight with Canelo, I like Crawford every bit as much as I did before that Canelo fight, and even more now. That's how much I like it.
It all boils down to, and Canelo Alvarez has drawn a clear line in the sand following recent outreach from Turkey Alalshikh's camp regarding a potential mega fight with Terence Crawford during Super Bowl weekend. While discussions were initiated, Canelo immediately shut them down, making it known that his full focus remains locked on his current fight, and he won't be distracted by talk of what's next.
My response to Turkey is this. Yesterday, they text me. They text me and say, we can talk about the fight in February with Crawford. Yeah. They text me yesterday and I say, look, I'm not gonna talk about any other fight. I'm focused 100% on this fight. Look, I don't like the way he talk, and I'm not in this position because of any. I'm in this position. If he wants to work with me, it's in my way, not in their way. I don't need it.
Behind the scenes, the undisputed champion wasn't impressed with how the approach was made. He sees no room for missteps or ego at this stage of his career. Though he has a healthy respect for Turkey and what he's creating, Canelo drew the line. When it comes to his legacy and the choices he makes, he's the boss. And if anyone wants to be along for the ride, they'll have to join him on his terms.
It's not the way to approach. It's not the way to approach to me. Look, I respect everybody and I respect Turkey, but look, if he wants to work with me, it need to be in my way.
However, Terence Crawford is leaving no stone unturned as he gears up for what many are calling the defining moment of his legendary career, a showdown with Canelo Alvarez. Known for his relentless work ethic and surgical precision in the ring, Crawford is pushing himself harder than ever in training camp. He's not just preparing, he's transforming. Moving further with the jump to a higher weight class, Crawford is laser focused on developing explosive strength, elite level quickness, and ironclad endurance. Every drill, every rep, every sparring round is designed with one goal: to conquer the mountain that is Canelo. Behind the scenes, his team is deep in strategy mode, crafting a masterful game plan to neutralize Canelo's power, experience, and ring IQ. They're not intimidated by the size difference, they're engineering ways to turn it into an advantage.
Living the dream, baby. We going up November 20th.
Together, Dana and Turkey have ignited a movement that could redefine the game entirely, laying the foundation for what promises to be a seismic shift in the global sports landscape.
No, I wouldn't be where I am today without boxing. The sport of boxing is where I started. I felt like it was something that could never be fixed until this guy showed up. He has done more for boxing than any promoter in the history of the sport combined. He has invested more money, more energy, and more passion into this sport than literally ever. So for me to be, I didn't know what to think when we first met. He and I have become very close friends in a very short amount of time, and there aren't a lot of people that I would do a deal like this with. There's no people, actually. He's the only guy, to be honest with you. So what he's done for the sport is incredible, and I'm looking forward to it.
The bottom line is, Turkey Alalshikh didn't hold back in the post-announcement interview, underlining the power of strong alliances and their undeniable importance in launching a groundbreaking venture like this. With unwavering confidence, Turkey lauded Dana White, referring to him as the ultimate man to preside over such a fearless new era in boxing. When it comes to bringing about a game-changing fight league, there's just nobody else better qualified for the task.
First of all, he's not the only CEO now for UFC. He's the CEO of the new company also. Second, I cannot do anything without the support of my crown prince. First of all, the king, God bless him, and the crown prince, our leader. He supports us in everything. We have, if you want to fix boxing or any sport or doing some big project like this, we will not have any options better than Dana White. I see him in this hotel before 1 year, as you remember, with our friend Nick, and we are talking about this, and we go and back, and we have the same vision, and I trust this league in short time will crush everything.
As the countdown begins for Canelo versus Bud, the stakes couldn't be higher. 2 elite champions, 2 styles, 1 ring, and only one will emerge victorious. Will Canelo's power and legacy hold strong, or will Crawford's skill and hunger carve out a new king? Who walks away as the winner? Is it Canelo, the face of boxing, or Crawford, the technician turned conqueror? Let us know who you're riding with in the comments. Team Canelo or Team Crawford, and get ready, because history is about to be written.